Right, now we're on, well, we've got a few minutes before we get to the good Reverend's house. So, I've seen this a few times. General White's headquarters. General White, the commander of Ladysmith during the siege. I see you can drive into the premises. I think it's going to be another one of these instances of, what are you filming? But well, we know how to handle that now, don't we? Just plead ignorance. And these young ladies are off to. Beautiful, isn't it? It's got the stone sort of wall that's built on like a fort. It's got the old porch. You'd sit on and have a gin and tonic at the end of the day. As the reports come in of the General White, so we've had a long tom shell come through the Royal Hotel. Oh my God, man. Is the bar alright? It's beautiful, isn't it? I don't think there'd be anything inside, but anyway, this is the headquarters for General White. We'll walk down the steps. Don't know if we'll get a chance to. That's a beautiful stoop. Right. So I put in Gun Hill in my phone. It's brought me to this hill. I thought it was the one on the right, but it's this hill. As you can see, there's a primitive fence here. And going in there, it looks pretty dodgy. So I'm not going to do that. It's private property anyway. I don't want to... it's hardly as if I'm going to put my shoes on and climb up there. But that should be the spot where the English recce party climbed up on top of the hill and destroyed the, or stole the breech from the Boer gun that was causing so much damage down there, the towns down there. And that flat section there, I think that's Plattrand. I think that's Wagon Hill, where those towers are at the end. Okay, this is one that got away. See this? This is an area where they dump, well, building material, rubble, possibly bodies. This is my third attempt to find the memorial to a fella that was killed by a stray bullet. This was one that I couldn't find, and I tried 3 times. It was the memorial to Lieutenant Colonel W.H. Dick, Cunningham, V.C. Cairn. Quote, "Here he was struck in the side by a bullet which, fired from the far side of the plateau, had travelled approximately 2,500 yards. He fell from his horse. A cairn was erected on the spot where he fell, every man in the battalion contributing a stone. Commanding officer of the 2nd Battalion Gordon Highlanders in Ladysmith, William Henry Dick Cunningham, had been awarded a V.C. for bravery during the Afghan War, rallying his men by his brave example and cheering words. He charged into the middle of the enemy on the 13th of December, 1879. Dr. Stark was a widower aged 54 from Torquay, England. He travelled extensively, had written a book on the birds of South Africa. Staying at the Royal Hotel, he had the bad luck to find himself trapped in Ladysmith when the siege started. He was sympathetic to the Boer cause and was actually suspected of being a spy, but being a very popular fellow and a good conversationalist, he had enough friends to vouch for him. Despite the shortage of doctors during the siege, he did not practice his profession. He could not stand shellfire and left the hotel every morning at sunrise for the dugouts in the banks of the Klip River, usually returning after sunset. On the 18th of November 1899, Dr. Stark, with his cat in his arms, was standing near the hotel entrance talking to journalist Mr. Hugh when a shell passed through the roof, came down the stairs, ricocheted against the wall and hit Dr. Stark where he stood on the sidewalk. Although it did not explode, it took off one of his legs and badly mangled the other. He died shortly after. It is said that his last words were, "Look after my poor cat." A popular ornithologist, Dr. Stark, was immortalised when a bird found in Namibia was named after him, Stark's lark. So I'm at the, this is the old Royal Hotel. Now let's have a look at the front. This was opened, or here during the siege. So this is the historical Royal Hotel. Sundeel works at the museum. More pictures of Boers. Look at this place. Well, of course, this time I asked if I could look around before just coming in. There's Harry Smith. There's me, I'm back in the pink singlet. War declared. Bring it on. There's Ladysmith, Spanish. Okay. The bar is not open till 5, which is understandable. Unless you're a hardcore alcoholic, that's not going to be a problem. Oh, well, that's closed. Sandeel's pushing his luck. Oh, they got swords and that in there. Look up the top of the bar there, they got swords. A lance, there's a lance. There's a thing to clean the gun barrel. Some pictures of the siege, of course. Look at this stuff. Old notes. You wouldn't think they're real. Some shells. Okay. There's some people up there, but we won't disturb them. But look at that stuff. There's a bayonet. Alright, this is probably where you eat. Sandeel's getting a bit nervous. There's some more great stuff. Okay, this is historical Ladysmith. So I don't know if we can see, but there is a, you can see now a bit better, there's that cream coloured building with the sort of Spanish look about it. I believe that was the convent. It now seems to be a private hospital, but oops, that was the convent where a Boer shell came through and landed on their altar and buried its way in under the altar. I'm in my infamous yellow thongs. I've had one person ask me, where'd you get them? Surprisingly, yeah, haven't seen flip-flops on many South Africans. Now with our graves, Oh, look at that. Those beautiful Zulu cattle. And for some reason, those sort of walls or fences they build, people knock down the pickets in them. Anyway, yeah, they had fences like that. Yeah, this is Boer War. These guys died of disease, as I said, 25 a day towards the end. That accounts for all those names in the All Saints Church. One thing we didn't see, I should have read first, but the Reverend didn't show us. Apparently there's a hole in the roof of the All Saints where a Boer shell came through. Anyway, let's get to here and now. The Gordons, they like this from Aberdeen. Killed at Wagon Hill, Major Charles Walnut. We've seen him mentioned. These are all Ian Alistair Campbell. That's a real Scottish name over there. These are all the Gordons. One died of disease. Stanley Walker. Wounds. Died of dysentery. John Charles Knapp of the Imperial Light Horse. Long Valley Ladysmith, we don't know that. Encounter is men died in the defence of Ladysmith. A few names there. They're from the Leicestershires, aren't they? Died of enteric fever. He was 31. This cross is sent by his broken-hearted wife from the country he loves so well. Her hearth is left unto her desolate. There's a war correspondent. Eon Herbert Smythe. Beautiful marble, this, beautiful. I made it through the siege, and then here's the one we were coming for. Digby Jones, VC. He was finally given the VC by Edward in 1902. If you go to Scotland, you can find there's a memorial for Digby. George Barlow, Dennis. There's another victim of the battle at Wagon Hill. Active service. Sergeant died of enteric fever. Can't read the name very well. I was reading today while I was waiting for the car to get cleaned that the flies were that bad that they were laid out, is it Cooper's powder? It was a powder to kill
pests like fleas and mites, and you know, if your men were struck down with mites or something, you dust them with this flour, Cooper's. Oh, we've used it for sheep, we've seen it. Anyway, they mixed a long line of this Cooper's powder with some water and put it near the trenches where the men were using to for their, you know, to shit in. And look at that. These are some of the devs that fell. And the fella that during the siege that was writing this story of the flies and the long line of Cooper's powder mixed with water said you wouldn't believe it, but they needed wheelbarrows. Men with shovels were shoveling up flies, dead flies, into wheelbarrows to dispose of them. Major General Makata killed at Wagon Hill. As I said, they lost a lot of officers and big brass. They fought from the front, these guys. Captain Lafone, hey, we know him. I'm not going to say it. Alright, Lafone, it's for you. Alright. Fishwick, he was a volunteer. We don't know. Oh, look at that. November 1899, can't really read that. And here's a very faded one. The Royal Dragoons, late of Westminster, Ladysmith 1901, age 21. Right. Look at this. It's been caught paying attention. We'll go back to the military one. It's got the Zoho symbol, or the Om symbol, I should say. Claudette. Massive, big, leaning Celtic cross over there. I'm just going to look. I think it's a reverend or a priest or somebody. Yeah, reverend. Oops. We'll go back to the military section. Beautiful, sort of tropical look over there under those trees. But this is the Reverend August Illing. He died in February 1901. Big Celtic cross leaning to one side. Well, I was waiting for dinner, so I went down to the supermarket. Got the aforementioned crisps. I got some chili biltong, bottle of apple flavoured soft drink, and I got a little pineapple. I might go back and have that cut up for me today. And we're seeing this fella Trooper Chadwick of Wagon Hill, this fella Wingate of Wagon Hill. They estimate that the Boers lost about 500 men killed on that Battle of Wagon Hill, and the British lost about 800 killed and wounded. This one says Sergeant Robert Patterson, Rifle Brigade, killed in action 10th of December in the night attack on Surprise Hill. Don't know about that. Oh, there's another mention of this night attack on Surprise Hill. Lieutenant Ferguson. Wounds and disease, eh? I mean, how would you feel? About a month ago I started feeling a little tickle in my throat and a little rough in the sinuses. I thought, oh no, I'm coming down with a cold. Oh no. What about these guys? You know, you know people are dropping from enteric fever at the rate of 25 a day, and you start feeling a bit off colour. What's that going to do to your mood? Next thing you know, you're on the ox wagon out to Intombi camp, where they're burying them in blankets. I suppose you just started to make peace with you and with the god of your choice. Major Doveton, the Imperial Light Horse. That is the Battle of Wagon Hill, isn't it? Here's the Earl of Ava. I tried to find out a bit about him. His father was very friendly with Victoria, Queen. And loving memory of Archibald, Earl of Ava. We saw where he fell on the Wagon Hill. Mortally wounded. His mother put this here. Yeah, the Earl of Ava. Ava is in Ireland, we think.